All right, let's get into it. Today, we're basically gonna be architects. We're grabbing our hard hats, we're rolling out the blueprints, and we're tackling a project that, let's be honest, can feel a little daunting. We're talking about building a stronger, more intimate connection with your partner.
So why is it so hard? I mean, why does talking about sex and desire, even with the person you're closest to, feel so awkward sometimes? It's a super common feeling, but here's the good news. Intimacy isn't some big unsolvable mystery. Nope. Think of it like a structure. And today, we're going to figure out how to build it, brick by brick.
And that's really the core idea for this entire explainer. We're going to stop thinking about intimacy as this magical, elusive thing that just happens or doesn't. Instead, we're going to treat it like something you can consciously design and construct. So yeah, think of this as your blueprint for a much stronger connection.
Okay, so every single strong building out there needs one thing before anything else, a solid foundation. And when we're talking about the architecture of intimacy, that foundation is all about communication. It's really just about learning to, well, start talking.
Now, I know this sounds simple, but it's probably the single biggest step you can take. You have to destigmatize the topic in your own relationship. The goal here? Make talking about sex just as normal, just as casual, as talking about what you want to watch on Netflix tonight or a new hobby you're both getting into. See, when you take these conversations out of the bedroom and into your everyday life, all that pressure just evaporates. It signals that this is a shared priority for both of you. So, okay, how do you actually do that? Here are 3 really practical steps. First, share resources. Find an interesting article or a book and just decide to learn about it together. It's a fantastic, low-pressure way to bring new ideas to the table. Second, discuss preferences. You got to talk openly about what gets each of you in the mood. And finally, number 3, negotiate frequency. It is totally 100% normal for partners to have different sex drives. The key is to talk about it honestly and find a compromise that makes you both feel satisfied.
All right, our foundation is poured and set. Now it's time to put up the walls. And in our architecture of intimacy, these walls, they're built out of trust, a feeling of safety, and really clear boundaries. You know, trust is, well, it's everything. It's that feeling of safety you get when you can be completely, totally vulnerable with someone, emotionally and physically. Without that feeling, it's almost impossible to explore new desires or be truly open with each other. Trust is the essential structure that holds everything else up. So how do you actually, intentionally build that safety? Here are a few tools for your toolkit. A safe word. It's not just for the movies, okay? It is a powerful, powerful guarantee of an immediate stop, no questions asked, if things get uncomfortable. Then there are regular check-ins. Just a simple, hey, you still enjoying this? Make sure consent is ongoing, especially if you're trying something new. And finally, and this one is huge, absolutely no comparisons. This is so important. Because comparing your sex life to what you think your friends are doing or what you see in movies or some random statistic online, that is a fast track to feeling inadequate. And that feeling, it just eats away at trust. You have to remember, the only metric that truly, truly matters is whether you and your partner are satisfied. Your connection is yours, and it's unique. Okay, we have our foundation, we've got our walls up. Now it's time for the fun part, the interior decorating. It's time to furnish this home with the warmth and comforts of daily connection. You see, a great sex life doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It's supported by a bridge of non-sexual intimacy. It's all those small, everyday moments of connection that make the transition to sexual intimacy feel natural and easy instead of, abrupt or awkward. So how do you furnish your home with that connection? Try these 3 simple approaches. First, schedule real date nights and have some ground rules, like a no talking about work or the kids rule. The whole point is to reconnect as partners, not just as co-managers of a household. Also, bring non-sexual touch into your day, holding hands, a simple back rub. And finally, offer specific compliments. Something as simple as, wow, you looked amazing in that shirt today, can be a powerful reminder to your partner that they are seen and that they are desired. Now, just like with any major construction project, sometimes you run into an issue that's, well, it's beyond your own skill set. You need to call in a specialist. And there is absolutely zero shame in that.
If things like past trauma or ongoing medical issues are creating a real barrier to intimacy, that is not something you have to solve all on your own. Seeking help from a therapist or a doctor is not a sign of failure. It's a sign of real commitment to your relationship and to your own well-being. It can be one of the most important steps you ever take. So, we've walked through the entire construction process, right? From laying the foundation to putting up the walls to furnishing the home. Let's take one last look at that final blueprint together.
When you boil it all down, it really comes down to these 3 pillars. 1, talk openly so it becomes normal. 2, trust completely so you have a safe space to be vulnerable. And 3, connect daily, building that intimacy in all the small moments outside of the bedroom. These are the core principles of the whole architecture.
So there you have it, the blueprint for the architecture of intimacy. See, building this isn't about one single grand gesture. It's about a series of small, intentional, everyday actions. So the only question left is, what's the very first brick that you and your partner are going to lay? Thanks so much for joining me.